Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Goodwood, the 80th members meeting and the Gordon Murray Automotive stand. And Goodwood is a very special place for all of us and our company. T.33 was launched here last year. 2 years ago, we had the dynamic debut of T.50, and I was fortunate enough to get to drive it around there. If you look behind us, there's 10 cars tracking the journey of development of T.50, starting off in the corner with George, our Ultima engine mule. Trust me, he goes a lot better and sounds a lot better than he looks. But definitely gets better as you go along the line here. Stopping at PS4, our final pre-series car that was finished recently before production turned to customer cars recently at our Dunsfold facility. Now on the stand here, we have T1. This was Gordon's first car. He designed it, he built it, he raced it, and he won in it. Now this little car has got a lot to answer for. Over here, we have the Duckham's LM. Gordon was paid 250 quid and a scientific calculator by Alan Decadeny to design this for the 72 Le Mans 24 Hours. I was fortunate enough to race this car last year at Laguna Seca, and I can tell you, it is an absolute rocket ship. But the main reason we're here today is T.33 Spider under here. And who better to help us launch it than His Grace, the Duke of Richmond, and Professor Gordon Murray. Come on up, guys. You can clap, yeah. So Charles, tell us a bit about this relationship that we have, that Gordon has, that Gordon Murray Automotive has with Goodwood.
Dario, yes, well, it's been 30 years now, a bit more than that, actually. I guess it all started with Gordon and the F1. We all fell in love with the car. We, of course, wanted one until we saw the price tag. That was a bit of a shock. Anyway, we all tried hard, but then the Festival Speed started in '93, and, of course, we wanted more than anything to have an F1 there. And Gordon came, which was fantastic, and he brought the F1, but he also came in a rocket, the little car he designed, a silver rocket, which we found parked in front of the stables, which caused a lot of anguish to everybody. We tried to get it moved. We couldn't find out who owned it. Eventually, we discovered who owned it, and we tried to get it moved, and it was George Harrison. So George remained, or the car remained parked where it was, and George then drove down to the start line and did a famous run up the Goodwood Hill that year, and indeed came many times. So the relationship with Gordon has been a long and very happy and memorable one, and we're obviously thrilled to have these fabulous cars here and to have been part of this fabulous kind of rediscovery of all this wonderful technology and Gordon's fabulous talent.
Well, thank you. And Gordon, before we unveil this car, tell us a little bit about it. Tell us about your inspirations and just the tech spec of it and your thoughts on it.
Well, you know, T.50, our first car, is our sort of spaceship, if you like, the central driving position and the really forward cabin proportions. But the 33 has been a car in the back of my head since I did the McLaren F1. It's very difficult to do classic proportions with a central driving position because the cabin is so far forward. So when we did 33, I poured my heart and soul into it, and it has elements of all my favorite 60s sports racing cars and cars. So right from the beginning, we knew we would do some sort of open-top version, the Spider. And what we tried to do here was make it significantly different from the coupe, but actually retain that 60s feel. And I hope you're going to agree that we've achieved that. It's something that the team did a fantastic job on at GMA, and it's something we're very proud of. And of course, once again, being here at Goodwood, you know, we're proud to be a British company, the perfect place to launch a new car.
Shall we see it? I think yeah, you want to see it? Okay. Now, Charles, I've spent a lot of time with this car. It's been in Gordon's head for a long time, so we know it quite well. What do you think?
Well, it looks absolutely gorgeous, doesn't it? I mean, the moment you see a car, you know whether you kind of want it or not, and that looks sensational to me. And as Gordon says, this, the Spider, make it look like something very, the same language but very different, kind of special in its own right, its own person, and it looks wonderful. Congratulations, Gordon.
Thank you very much.
So, Gordon, where's your first road trip going to be?
Oh, I think it would have to be up in the West Highlands of Scotland. Those roads up there are really fantastic, and of course we have a house up there, and we're up there a lot, so I could just imagine this whizzing around those roads.
Getting that induction noise from the airbox there. Well, thank you so much, guys, for helping to unveil this wonderful car. And in case any of you are wondering, my road trip would also be in Scotland, if you're going to lend me the keys at some point. But now, talking about driving, I'm not just wearing this to remind people that I used to be a racing driver. I'm going to go and I'm going to go drive T.50. Gareth Howell and I, the chief test driver of Gordon Murray Automotive, are going to take T.50 for some laps of the circuit. So if you're at the track, get to the track side. If you're watching the live stream, we'll see you in a minute. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Well, that was a very special moment, wasn't it? For all of us here at Goodwood and for those of you watching at home. That has been eagerly anticipated, hasn't it? The T.33, especially after his T.50, which, David, I know you know a lot about. But tell us about how anticipated the T.33 has been from Gordon Murray.
Well, Gordon Murray designed it. Obviously, he created the famous McLaren F1, and at Revival we saw that amazing T.50. That's the halo car, really. And this is the, what shall we call it, the detuned T.33, the slightly cheaper version. And this was a global debut, great way to start the weekend. And at its beating heart is that Cosworth V12. It's been detuned, but it still revs to 11,100 RPM. Absolutely glorious. Probably one of the best V12s ever created in this car. And now, of course, with the T.33 Spider, which this reveal was all about, it's the first convertible in the GMA Gordon Murray Automotive lineup. And, of course, what better way to hear that engine than with the roof down?
Yeah, exactly. We'll get a chance to hear and see that a little bit later. And of course, he has the classic manual gear stick as well.
It's all about that for Gordon Murray. I mean, it's all about light, compact, you know, and purist. And as he said, this is a sort of homage back to his favorite cars, those 60s classic sports cars, and that classic design proportions.
Well, 100, of course, of those being made, and Gordon Murray himself said he'll take a trip up to the Scottish Highlands to give that its debut. For him, that'll be a moment, won't it, to see that in action. We get to see that in action in a short while as well, which will be pretty special. But apart from that, we have loads more to bring you as well this weekend. David, what are you really looking forward to, and what should everyone at home have their eyes on?
Well, you've got to look out for the Gordon Spice Trophy. It's the renamed Jerry Marshall, so it's those fantastic Group 1 touring cars from the 70s. We'll have 2 heats today of 30 cars each before the big final tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Halewood Trophy, of course, as well. But there's lots of practices here on day one, starting with the bikes, like I just mentioned, at 10 a.m. in the Halewood Trophy. And the Gurney Cup is at 10:25. That's the 1960 to 66 sports prototypes. Expect to see the likes of Dario Franchitti in that one, Steve Parrish and Jason Plato. And then at 11:05, we have the SF Edge Trophy, Edwardian racing cars from the 20th century. Expect, I'm going to say, David, flames from those cars.
Flames, just incredible pre-war cars. And these guys are just brave. They feel like they're sitting on top of the cars. We have the Blitz and Benz and, of course, the Beast of Turin, the 28-litre Fiat. Fantastic car. And they'll be laying flames all down the track.
Yeah, Duncan Pittaway will be out, of course, with that one. Then this afternoon, we have the Gordon Spice Heats. They'll be coming up at 11:45 till 12:10. Then we have the demo, don't we? The 911, celebrating 75 years of Porsche and 60 years of the 911. Then race 1. The first race of this weekend will be at 2:20, and that is the Halewood Trophy. Then a little bit later on this afternoon at 4:40, we get to see the Tony Gaze Trophy. That's aptly named after the man himself who suggested that this motorsport circuit should be here on which was an airfield back in the day. And then later on at 5:50 we have the Gordon Spice Trophy Group 1 saloon cars that race between the 1970s and 82. Expect a lot of names in that one, and a man who has the course record around here, Nick Padmore, he'll be in action as well. So loads going on this afternoon, well into the evening as well. We come off air at about 10 to 8 later, so a action-packed full day for you to really enjoy. And the sun has now come out, the cars are revving behind us. What is not to love, David Green?
Well, it's glorious. Just on cue, the sunshine. If you'd been here yesterday, there was rain, torrential rain, the car parks were full, cars were stuck, but it's like the weather gods have been listening to us, and we've got the sunshine. Let's hope it stays that way.
And it's not just us as well, is it, that are here this weekend? We have our main man on the ground, as always, Ed Foster. And if people came to Revival last year, they'll remember him for a very special reason, won't they, David?
Well, I don't think anybody celebrated a win so much, and it was a fantastic win in the Lavant Cup for good old Ed, and I think he's still basking in the glory.
He is. We can go down to him right now and see how he's still remembering that moment on track here and how much he's looking forward to today.
Well, I think there'll be slightly less celebrating from me this weekend because I'm keeping my feet firmly on the ground here in the assembly area, and this for me is where all the action is. All the bikes here are ready for the Halewood Trophy, and this is where all the races come before they go out on track. So I'm going to be speaking to as many of them as possible, trying to get their last thoughts, what they're thinking about, what's going to happen in the race. And I love this place because everyone is so excited. So hopefully I can bring some of that to the screens this weekend.
Everyone does love it, and Ed Foster is just behind us in the assembly area. He'll be grabbing all the drivers before they go out on the circuit, and let me tell you, that's a pretty tricky job. When they have their helmets ready to go, the visors down, Ed's the man who has to go and shove the microphone in their face and try and get a word before they go out. Not a really easy job, is it?
No, but it's, you know, I think it's a harder job than what he did last year. I think he's done a Rosberg, I think 1 win, and he's out now, so he's back to interviewing duties, but he's got the loudest place at the members meeting. Some of those engines down there, but he'll do his best, I'm sure.
And next out on track in a short moment, we do have that track parade from Gordon Murray. In particular, there's quite a few of his cars that are going to go out. What are you going to keep your eye on?
I'm not looking for anything, I'm listening. I think if you saw Dario last day, when he was out with the V10 F1 cars, his car almost sounded just as good with that Cosworth engine. So I'm just going to be closing my eyes and listening to that engine.
Yeah, exactly. That is what we like to do, especially when the V12s come out. We got to hear them quite a lot last year. So, guys, this is about to happen out on track. It is the track parade for Gordon Murray, of course. We'll just let you listen to what's going on behind us and what you're about to hear on circuit. Enjoy this one.
Is that page okay?
So yeah. So
yep.
This is the one. So this is the issue we've had recently with the voltage dropping.
Okay.
So that's
start of a day. Just heading out for a few laps in T.50. This is PS1, the last of the pre-series cars. I've spent a good bit of time in this car recently. take the first lap nice and easy. That's 5th gear now. We're just sitting about 4,500 revs. So it's been really a 2-year development cycle in 50, and cars all over the world doing all kinds of jobs, from driving on the ice to driving in the desert and hot weather, engine development, gearbox development, crash testing. Now that bit really is not fun at all. When you watch these beautiful works of art just getting crashed, but it passed with flying colours. Just warming up the tyres a bit. A couple of little damp patches on the exit of Lavin. She's in fine voice this morning. The development process is so much more difficult than making a racing car. Racing car, you just go, is it fast? Is it reliable? Road car, there's so many more parts to it, and something I've learned recently with my involvement with Gordon Murray Automotive, and just the work that goes into making a car like this. And when you push the boundaries like Gordon has with weight and performance. So we'll go a little quicker this lap. Traction control just intervening a little bit into the first corner here, 4th gear. It's definitely got more grip than the historic cars I drive. She's sounding good through the kink at Ford Water. Got the fan on. We're in high downforce mode at the moment, just trying to get a little more grip out of it. Into No Name. Such a special corner, such a difficult corner. To the left at St Mary's, run the curb just a little bit. I've got Chief Test Driver from Gordon Murray Automotive, Gareth Howell, right behind me. He knows really better than I think anybody. Him, Steve Hayes, our other test driver, done thousands of miles in this car. Down to Madgwick. The brakes are definitely better as well. It's so interesting to drive a modern car with this level of performance round here compared to the older cars. Now, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you just listen to the voice of this Cosworth GMA V12 for a lap. Had as much fun as I did. Enjoy your day here at Goodwood.